It was the wedding that changed television romance forever. But what fans didn't see was almost a disaster. As Outlander devotees count down the months until the highly anticipated eighth and final season drops in early 2026, many have been revisiting the unforgettable moments that made the Starz series a global phenomenon. And for millions, nothing compares to The Wedding, the season 1 episode that sealed the fates of Sam Ewan and Caitriona in one of TV's most iconic love scenes. But behind the camera, things almost went very differently. Executive producer Ronald D. Moore recently admitted that the creative team scrapped a really terrible wedding detail that could have completely changed how fans remember Jamie and Claire's union. Speaking on the official Outlander podcast, Moore confessed that even Claire's wedding ring went through several reinventions before the final version, a simple silver band made from a key, was chosen. In the book, the ring was just a ring like any other. It had no deeper meaning. But for dramatic purposes, we felt it should mean something. It couldn't just be a ring. That key decision gave Jamie's gift to Claire a depth that resonated with fans for nearly a decade. However, Moore also revealed that one version of the scene was so bad it had to be scrapped entirely. While he didn't reveal the exact details, insiders claim that early version lacked the emotional weight and symbolism that has since become central to the couple's relationship. The wedding episode marked a monumental turning point in Outlander storytelling, transforming a forced marriage into one of TV's most powerful love stories. It also set the tone for the emotional roller coaster that followed, as Claire, a 20th century time traveler, found herself torn between 2 centuries and 2 lives. As the final season looms, fans are rewatching The Wedding with new eyes, reflecting on how close they came to missing the magic that made Jamie and Claire's bond legendary. For now, one thing is certain. Even after all these years, the story of Outlander's most famous kiss still feels as timeless as ever. In the heart of Scotland, where misty hills cradled the history of clans and legends, one of the nation's most beloved stars, Sam Heughan, has been trying to build something both deeply personal and profoundly symbolic. A whiskey distillery that would honor his roots, celebrate Scottish craftsmanship, and give fans around the world a tangible connection to the spirit of Outlander. But in an unexpected twist that has left fans stunned and locals murmuring, Heughan's ambitious plans have hit a major stumbling block following a shocking discovery that threatens to derail the entire project. What began as a dream fueled by heritage and passion is now shadowed by uncertainty, with legal experts, environmental activists, and the local council all watching closely as the story unfolds like one of the star's dramatic TV plots. Sam Heughan, known globally for his role as Jamie Fraser in the historical phenomenon Outlander, has long expressed pride in his Scottish heritage. His desire to launch a whiskey distillery was not just another celebrity vanity project, but rather a deeply personal vision tied to his upbringing and to the legacy of Scottish craftsmanship. Heughan had hoped to build his distillery in the scenic Highlands, near an area that holds historical significance and natural beauty. It was to be a place where tradition met innovation, blending modern sustainability with centuries-old whiskey-making techniques. However, just as plans were nearing final approval, a shocking discovery on the proposed site threw everything into chaos. Reports suggest that while early site inspections were underway, a team of environmental surveyors stumbled upon evidence of ancient archaeological remains buried beneath the land. The discovery reportedly includes artifacts and structures believed to date back hundreds, perhaps even thousands of years. Such findings in Scotland can instantly change the status of a property from developable land to a protected heritage site, and this possibility has sent shock waves through Heughan's team and the local authorities overseeing the project. The situation has become a complex tangle of legal, cultural, and emotional issues, an ironic parallel to the kind of historical entanglements that Outlander fans are used to seeing Heughan navigate on screen. Locals initially greeted news of the distillery project with excitement, seeing it as a potential boon for tourism and the economy. Sam Hewen's name carries immense goodwill in Scotland, and his Sassenach Spirits brand, already known for its award-winning whiskey, has been celebrated internationally. His decision to build a full-scale distillery in his homeland was seen as both a patriotic gesture and a business masterstroke. Many small communities in the Highlands have benefited from similar ventures, with whiskey tourism drawing visitors from across the globe eager to see how their favorite spirits are made. But when word of the archaeological discovery spread, enthusiasm began to mix with concern. Heritage Scotland, the national body responsible for preserving the country's historical and cultural assets, immediately stepped in to conduct an independent assessment of the site. Early indications, according to local reports, suggest that the artifacts could belong to a previously undocumented settlement. This would make the area archaeologically significant, requiring preservation rather than development. The thought of halting a project associated with one of Scotland's most famous modern cultural ambassadors has left the local council in a difficult position. On one hand, there is the potential economic benefit of a Hewen-backed distillery. On the other, the legal and ethical responsibility to protect Scotland's history for future generations. Hewen himself has remained characteristically diplomatic in public statements so far. Speaking during a recent event promoting Outlander's upcoming season, he acknowledged the challenges without revealing too much detail, saying that building a distillery in Scotland means honoring the land first, and that if the land tells a story, you have to listen. His words struck a chord with fans and locals alike, suggesting that he may be more inclined to adapt than to fight the preservation orders if they come into force. Still, behind the scenes, those close to the project hint at growing frustration. Planning permissions that once seemed like a formality are now suspended pending further archaeological evaluation, and investors are reportedly nervous about delays that could stretch for months or even years. The location of the proposed distillery, kept confidential for privacy reasons, has been the subject of speculation among fans and journalists. Some believe it to be in the Cairngorms region, while others point to a historic estate in Perthshire. Wherever it is, insiders say the land was chosen not only for its picturesque beauty, but also for its proximity to a natural water source essential for whiskey production. Now that same land is being examined for historical relics, creating a situation where progress and preservation collide head-on. Environmental groups have also entered the conversation, arguing that the discovery might only be part of a larger network of sites that deserve full protection. The debate has become as emotional as it is bureaucratic, with some accusing the government of stifling local enterprise and others praising the intervention as a triumph for heritage protection. The story has also taken on symbolic meaning among Outlander fans. Many have noted the uncanny resemblance between the show's themes about time travel, history, and Scottish identity, and Hewen's real-life predicament. Social media has been flooded with comments, memes, and speculation. Fans joke about, quote, Jamie Fraser protecting the Highlands again, while others express genuine concern that one of Scotland's most celebrated sons could lose millions in investment due to forces entirely beyond his control. For Hewen, who has built much of his personal brand around authenticity, this incident poses a unique public relations challenge. How he handles it could determine whether his distillery dream becomes a triumphant legacy or a cautionary tale about ambition and bureaucracy. Those close to the Outlander star describe him as remarkably hands-on when it comes to his business ventures. His Sassenach Spirits brand launched with a premium whiskey that quickly sold out and won international awards, demonstrating his commitment to quality. Hewen reportedly envisioned the new distillery as a place that would expand the brand's range, allowing for experimental batches and in-person experiences for fans. There were even plans for a visitor center that would showcase the traditional art of distilling alongside interactive exhibits about Scottish history and culture. The shock discovery, however, now threatens to change the entire scope of that vision. Instead of breaking ground this year, Hugin's team must now navigate an exhausting series of legal and environmental reviews. Local reactions have been mixed. Some community members feared that the potential loss of the distillery will rob the area of valuable job opportunities. One local councillor was quoted saying that Sam's project could have brought new life to the region, and that it's heartbreaking to see it stuck in limbo. Others, including historians and archaeologists, argue that discoveries like this happen rarely and must be treated with care. Once you build over history, you can't ever get it back, one expert explained. That sentiment echoes throughout Scotland's long and complex relationship with its past, where every stone and field can hold untold stories of ancestors and ancient battles. For Hugin, this means balancing his love for modern Scotland with his respect for its past, a dilemma that would not feel out of place in the Outlander universe itself. Adding another layer of intrigue, rumors have emerged that Hugin's discovery may not just be archaeological, but also environmental. Some unconfirmed reports mention the detection of rare plant species or protected wildlife habitats in the area. If proven true, these findings could further complicate any attempt to develop the land. Environmental groups have already called for an immediate suspension of all construction activities, urging authorities to treat the site as ecologically sensitive. Hugin's team, for their part, insists that sustainability remains at the core of their mission. The distillery design was reportedly eco-friendly, utilizing renewable energy and local materials. Yet even with the best intentions, regulatory bodies are often unmoved when it comes to preserving delicate ecosystems. The shockwave of the discovery has reached far beyond the local community. International media have picked up the story, often highlighting the irony that the man who plays a character so deeply tied to Scotland's past may now be at odds with preserving that very heritage in real life. Financial analysts observing celebrity-backed ventures say the situation underscores the risks of large-scale projects tied to personal branding. Quote, "When a public figure like Hugin puts his name behind something, the expectations are enormous," unquote, one consultant noted. Any delay or controversy can quickly turn into a global headline. Despite these challenges, most observers believe Hugin's reputation as a thoughtful and grounded individual will help him navigate the crisis without alienating supporters. The actor's commitment to Scotland has never been in question. Over the years, he has raised millions for charities through his My Peak Challenge initiative and has consistently used his platform to promote Scottish tourism, language, and culture. That same dedication is now being tested in a way he could never have anticipated. Some insiders believe he might even pivot the project to incorporate the archaeological findings rather than fight them. Imagine, they say, a distillery built alongside a small museum where visitors can experience both whiskey and history in one immersive journey. Such a compromise would be expensive and time-consuming, but could transform what began as a setback into a unique cultural landmark. Whether local authorities would allow such an integrated development remains uncertain, but the idea is reportedly gaining traction within Hugin's team. For now, the actor continues to juggle his professional commitments with this growing controversy. With Outlander nearing its final chapter and Hugin's film career expanding, the pressure on his schedule is immense. Still, those who know him say he remains deeply involved in the distillery's fate, holding meetings with legal advisors, heritage officials, and investors whenever he can. The man who once portrayed a Highland warrior is now battling a far more bureaucratic enemy, one that no sword or time travel can overcome. Fans often remark that Hugin's greatest strength is his resilience, and it is that same quality that will be tested most in the months ahead. If the distillery project ultimately falters, the economic impact could be significant. Early estimates suggest that the facility would have created dozens of local jobs and attracted thousands of tourists each year. The whiskey industry is one of Scotland's most vital economic pillars, contributing billions annually and representing the nation's craftsmanship on a global stage. Losing a high-profile project like Hugin's could dampen enthusiasm for future celebrity-backed initiatives. Yet history has shown that Hugin rarely gives up easily. Sources close to the production note that he is already exploring alternate sites should the current one be deemed unsuitable. Sam isn't the type to walk away from something that matters, one insider said. He sees obstacles as part of the story, not the end of it. As the legal and archaeological reviews continue, Hugin has tried to keep spirits high, no pun intended. His social media remains filled with upbeat messages about Scotland's beauty, whiskey traditions, and the joy of perseverance. He recently shared a cryptic post quoting a Scottish proverb, "What's for you won't go by you." Fans interpreted it as his quiet acknowledgement of the distillery's uncertain fate, and his belief that everything happens for a reason. The phrase, deeply rooted in Scottish culture, perfectly captures the philosophy that has guided him through both fame and frustration.
When Sam Heughan announced his plan to open a whiskey distillery in his homeland of Scotland, fans across the world celebrated what felt like the perfect union between the actor and the land that made him famous. Known globally for his role as Jamie Fraser in Outlander, Heughan has spent years talking about his love for Scotland, its wild landscapes, its history, and of course, its whiskey. The dream was to create something lasting, something that would honor Scotland's deep-rooted whiskey traditions while also serving as a modern, sustainable business that could boost local tourism and inspire pride in his home region. But now, those ambitions are under serious threat after a shocking discovery put the entire project in jeopardy. What began as a passion project driven by heritage and heart has suddenly become entangled in a web of environmental concerns, legal hurdles, and mounting uncertainty. The trouble began when Heughan's team was preparing to move forward with construction on his new distillery in Dumfries and Galloway, a region in the southwest of Scotland, close to where the actor grew up. Heughan had already established the Sassenach Spirits, a brand that introduced a successful blended Scotch whiskey in 2021, and later a wild Scottish gin using locally sourced botanicals. These early ventures gave him both credibility and confidence to move forward with a larger goal, to build a full-fledged distillery that would serve as a home for the Sassenach brand, a visitor attraction, and a beacon for Scottish craftsmanship. The site chosen for the new distillery, known as the Galloway Distillery, was intended to be an environmentally responsible facility powered by renewable energy and designed to blend seamlessly into the surrounding landscape. It was set to become a state-of-the-art production center capable of distilling up to 200,000 liters of whiskey annually, all while inviting tourists to explore the beauty of the Galloway Hills. Local authorities had initially been thrilled by Heughan's plan. Dumfries and Galloway Council had described it as one of the region's most promising new investments, capable of creating dozens of local jobs and attracting tens of thousands of visitors every year. The Scottish tourism agency Visit Scotland had also praised the project, saying it would bring fresh attention to a part of the country often overshadowed by the Highlands and Speyside. Heughan himself spoke passionately about wanting to highlight what he called Scotland's undiscovered and ancient land, emphasizing that Galloway deserved recognition as its own unique whiskey region rather than being grouped with the lowlands. His vision was ambitious, combining traditional Scottish whiskey making with modern sustainability practices, including energy-efficient equipment and local sourcing. It all seemed to be going perfectly until a small but potentially devastating detail emerged during environmental surveys. As part of the standard pre-construction procedure, environmental consultants inspected the land surrounding the distillery site. What they found changed everything. Evidence emerged suggesting that the area might be home to a protected species, the great crested newt, one of the most strictly safeguarded creatures under both UK and European law. The presence of these amphibians, even in small numbers, can halt development immediately until appropriate surveys, licenses, and mitigation plans are in place. The discovery triggered a flurry of concern among the environmental authorities overseeing the project. A formal warning was issued, stating that if any great crested newts were found on or near the site, all construction must stop at once and could not resume until the Scottish government granted a special license. This revelation sent shockwaves through the distillery's planning process, turning what had seemed like a straightforward build into a bureaucratic nightmare. The irony of the situation wasn't lost on locals and fans alike. Here was Sam Heughan, an actor whose most iconic character lives in harmony with Scotland's rugged nature, now facing real-world opposition from the land itself. The discovery of the newt habitat has complicated his distillery dream in ways few could have anticipated. Environmental impact studies now have to be expanded and detailed habitat assessments conducted to determine whether the creatures are indeed living in the area and if their habitat could be disturbed by construction. Even if no newts are directly found on the site, the existence of nearby suitable woodland or water areas that connect to the property could still trigger restrictions. These legal protections are non-negotiable and carry significant penalties if breached. In short, Heughan's team can neither ignore nor work around them. They must adapt, wait, or redesign. The great crested newt issue might sound minor to outsiders, but it has major consequences for developers. The species is protected because of its declining numbers across Europe, and under the Conservation of Habitats regulations, disturbing or destroying its habitat can result in severe fines or even criminal charges. Developers caught in violating these laws often face delays that can last for years. In Heughan's case, the discovery means that construction on his distillery cannot begin until the necessary licenses are granted, and those are only issued after thorough environmental studies have confirmed that mitigation measures are in place. This could involve creating new wetland habitats nearby or modifying building plans to ensure no disruption to the species. Such steps are expensive and time-consuming, and they could alter the project's timeline significantly. For Heughan, who has poured his heart and resources into making this dream a reality, the setback is undoubtedly frustrating. Still, true to form, he has remained composed and respectful in his public remarks. In recent interviews, the actor emphasized that any project tied to the Scottish landscape must respect the land first. He spoke about how building something lasting requires listening to the stories the Earth wants to tell, a poetic statement that echoes both his on-screen persona and his off-screen values. Those close to him describe him as determined to find a solution that honors both his distillery's vision and the environmental integrity of the region. Insiders suggest he is already exploring alternative layout designs that could leave the potential habitats undisturbed